There is now anger in Maldives. Remember, this is where you had President Gotabaya Rajapaksa fleeing to. We're now understanding the opposition party to submit a motion to the parliament regarding the refuge that has been given by Maldives to Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Remember, as we pointed out, diplomatically, it's going to become very difficult to try and seek refuge because most countries would not want to have an anti-Sri Lanka sentiment as far as optics are concerned. So after fleeing to Maldives, which we pointed out earlier might not be his end destination, there is anger in Maldives against Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who landed in Maldives this morning. We're now understanding, as I pointed out, the opposition party will submit motion to the parliament. Abhishek Jha, my colleague, is getting us all these details. So, Abhishek, I want to understand who gave the clearance for Gotabaya Rajapaksa to land in Maldives?
This is kind of not known right now because we know there are media reports that Mohammad Nasheed, who has been the parliament speaker of the current government in Maldives, he was also present when Rajapaksa with his wife landed in Maldives. So this is what the information we have. In fact, the airport where the Sri Lankan Air Force plane landed, that does not have the clearance for a night landing, but exceptions were made because it was one of the exceptional case when a president of a country was trying to travel to a neighboring country, because Gotabaya Rajapaksa is still the president of Sri Lanka on paper, and probably this is what and he was flying in a Sri Lankan Air Force plane. So probably this is what the official version could be, that Maldivian did not refuse that to happen. However, the sentiment in Maldives is not exactly the same, because the party leaders, in fact the Dunya Mamur, who is also the party leader of the current government in there, they have said that they are going to bring a resolution, a motion in parliament, that who authorized this Rajapaksa and family to take a refuge in Maldives. But first of all, let us also try to understand that this is still not clear whether Rajapaksa and his family have got refuge or shelter in Maldives, or Maldives has just provided a stopover in the long journey that Rajapaksa is planning ahead. He might be going to some other country also. He might have some other plans also, because we have in the past heard that how there was an application to go to USA, which was refused by USA. But then he tried to go to other countries also. It was explored by Rajapaksa's family members also to board a commercial plane and go to Dubai. But that was also not possible because of the continuation of protests and the immigration officer not allowing it to happen. So they have been exploring other destinations as well. But now, since they have moved away from Sri Lanka and they are currently in Maldives, there it could be a little easier for them to go to another destination. So whether or not Maldives has given them a refuge or they have just provided them a stopover, this is still not clear. Meanwhile, the political sentiment are very divided in Maldives. The party leaders have said that they are going to bring a motion as to how did this all has happened, where Rajapaksa has got refuge. Okay,
Abhishek, I'll request you to stay on with us. I quickly want to go back to Purnima also. Purnima, taking on from what Abhishek was pointing out, I want to understand, do we have a sense of how many of the family members are still back in Sri Lanka and how many with Gotabaya Rajapaksa have managed to flee to Maldives?
Well, sources say that it's only Gotabaya Rajapaksa and his wife, along with 2 security personnel who left in the wee hours of Monday to Maldives, and then they are also planning to go to another South Asian destination, reportedly is what we are hearing at this point in time, after which later in the evening is when President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, once he reportedly reaches the final destination, which many speculated to be Dubai, only after that will his official resignation announcement come in. Till then, protesters say that they will continue to protest, because once he tenders his resignation, the next announcement is to make sure that Ranil Wickremesinghe be made the acting president, and that's why protests outside the Prime Minister's office, even though Ranil Wickremesinghe is nowhere to be seen, protests are snowballing. Apart from Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Namal Rajapaksa had tweeted 3 days ago that his wife has not fled the country and that she works in the tourism department and therefore traveling to other countries is part of her work and that she has not fled the country. That was the last tweet that came in from Namal Rajapaksa. Mahinda Rajapaksa is reportedly somewhere in Sri Lanka is what we are hearing. It's only Gotabaya Rajapaksa and his wife who left for Maldives. Meanwhile, Basil Rajapaksa yesterday tried leaving from here to Dubai and then to Washington. That did not happen because the immigration workers did not allow him to leave the country. And these are the two developments that panned out. But Mahinda Rajapaksa reportedly is somewhere in the country and has not left. There are no whereabouts of him just yet. But Mahinda Rajapaksa is somewhere in the country is what is being reported by the local media here. It's only Gotabaya who's left the country because the resignation of Gotabaya is something that they have been demanding for 96 days now. Mahinda Rajapaksa had resigned in May. Therefore, now chorus is only growing louder for Gota to go home. And now, in addition to that, they also want Ranil Wickremesinghe to resign. So those are the developments as far as the political front of the island nation is concerned. Back to you.
Hi Purnima, this is Arunima. Viewers were just joining in. Purnima Murali has been reporting from Colombo, recapping for us the dramatic pictures that we have seen over the last 1.5 hours. Protesters trying to storm the residence and the office of the current Prime Minister, and amongst reports that he has taken over as the acting president. Purnima Murali, over the last 1 hour, you have brought to us pictures, dramatic scenes. Now it looks to us that things have calmed down. Would you say so?
Well, not yet, because just 10 minutes ago, there were multiple rounds of tear gas that were fired and hundreds of them were running away from the Prime Minister's office. Even now, if I can ask my camera person to show you, those who inhaled tear gas are being rushed to the nearby first aid team that is already on standby. So, protests are only intensifying. There are many protesters now coming towards the Prime Minister's office, even as the Prime Minister's office is heavily guarded by the army personnel, and they are trying to constantly ensure that they disperse the crowds by opening tear gas. And these are going on for the last 2 hours, but protesters refuse to budge. They say they will continue to protest here till Ranil also steps down. So that's what we've been hearing from protesters over the last 2 hours. But tear gas is being fired continuously to disperse the crowd, and protesters are trying to ensure that they stay united and stay put outside the Prime Minister's office. Those are the scenes that are unfolding.
Right. All right. Purnima, do hold on. We are constantly getting up.